Amen. Amen. And we started this series on love is not easily angered, love, and it's based on the disciple relationship. And you know, I had this person come into my office the other day, and she brought someone for counseling. And as she dropped him off, and then she came back to pick him up, and then she sits in my office and she starts to say, I need to talk. I need to talk. I'm desperate. She says, I hate my mother. I can't stand her anymore. Everything about her turns my stomach. And it's not the first thing. I remember my brother giving me a call every so often and saying, I hate this woman. And we know that it's not really hate, really their frustration, their anger. And so often you hear in 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 5 says, love is not easily angered. But sometimes anger is the most misunderstood emotion. A lot of people think that anger is a sin. The Bible says it's okay to be angry, but do not what? Do not sin. So not necessarily. Sometimes anger is the most appropriate response for situations. But so often, as some believers says, don't think that you should be angry at all. When a lot of times anger has its purpose. Does God get angry? Yes. Yeah. Didn't Jesus get angry when he turned some tables? Yes. There are some times that you should get angry, folks. Sometimes anger is evidence of love. Turn to someone and see if they understand that. I know. Do you believe that sometimes anger is evidence of love? Imagine if you had someone you love and someone hurt them. You had kids and someone hurt your kid. How would you feel? Is that a healthy, normal response? Because I would worry if you didn't feel that way. Right? What would you think if someone hurt someone you love and you didn't feel anything? What would you say? Something's wrong. If somebody hurts your kids, I would get angry and defend them, wouldn't you? Yes. And protect them. In fact, if I didn't, then we know there's a problem. We know that it would be heartless, uncaring, insensitive, and all these things. And I want to make something very clear. The opposite of love is not anger. What is the opposite of love? Hate. No. Close, but not it. Indifference. Indifference. Close. Yeah. Huh? No. Huh? Unbelief. Close. Not patient. Not patient. Starts with A. Starts with A. What's the question again? What's the opposite of love? Aggression. Apathy. Apathy. Someone who has apathy doesn't care. Last week I told you that love, God is love. He doesn't have love. He is love. He is kind. He is patient. He's all those things it says in 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And we got to remember that. Being angry is not the problem, folks. Expressing anger in an inappropriate way is the problem. And so often we as believers can hold this stuff in and don't know how to deal with the stuff that's inside of us, that we go about it the wrong way. And then the world sees us because we're reacting something the wrong way because we can't seem to control it. So this person comes into my office lost control. She just couldn't control it. She says, started spewing out all this that even as a kid, she can't remember the day that her mother did not put her down. Did not tell her she was worthless. Did not tell her, she told her that she was worthless. She was no good. She didn't know why she even had it. All these things growing up. Never satisfied with anything she's done. She could have got awards, she could have done anything, and it wasn't enough. Now her mother's at a certain age, and her mother's with her living in her house, not paying anything yet, the same attitude. And she seems to be trapped. Sounds dangerous, right? I had a cousin once, and we were very close. This is in the beginning stages of my salvation. I had just gotten saved, maybe months. So we were so close, and we used to visit our house in Bergen, Philadelphia. We used to have a lot of connection at that time. We had that old, connection. It was very rare that I had any relationship with family members. This is one of the rare occasions. And so we would go over there, and we were all dysfunctional. That's just the way we were brought up and raised. And but I was just saying, because I was saved, and I was still excited about the Lord, and I would go over there and would trying to tell them about the little I knew about the Lord, tell them what happened in my life to transform me. So I'm sharing this. And, they were receptive because, they didn't know what to make of it at that moment because, I just got saved. What else can you do when you know the Lord? Right? When you first, remember when you first got saved? Right? How exciting was that? There's pump, there's excitement, there's so much, energy going on, and so many things happening right in your life, but you're excited. And so I was sharing the word, and we were sharing, and they accepted it. But so often, all of a sudden, their 15-year-old daughter got pregnant. And they lost it. They kicked her out of the house. Boom, get out. Gone. So where did she go? To nothing and my door. And she says, my mom told me, I don't know where to go, I'm pregnant, so on, and so, what am I going to do? I took her in. But if you knew my family history, when they're angry at one person for whatever reason, they won't talk to you for years. Could you imagine me taking her into my house? The repercussions of that? And we're being blackballed. Not that I cared, but but it was, at that point I tried to go to explain why. She found out that I took her in, so that we found a place for her to go, and did all of that. But her mother and father, they lost it. They sort of cut me off. They didn't want nothing to do. I said, well, it's your loss. I have to do what I have to do. At that time, the Lord was speaking to me. He says, take her in and do what you got to do. Sometimes we do things that you have no choice. You have to do. God puts it in your heart. And so they were angry. Their anger lasted about 10 years. Although they have maybe 2 years after that, they have made things right between her and their daughter and stuff. But even then, after they made up, we had no connection whatsoever. And sometimes, when we don't manage our anger correctly, what does it produce? Bitterness. That's right. And I want you to turn your Bibles to Ephesians chapter 4. And this is Paul, verse 17. Paul says this to the believers. Now I'm going to skip. I'm going to say the first verse of 17, and then I'm going to skip down to a verse down in verse 32. But here goes what it says. Paul says, so I tell you this, and I insist on it. I insist in the Lord that you must no longer live as Gentiles do, in the futility of their thinking, referring to their natural tendency of human being and human thinking that leads us away from God. He's telling I don't want you to act like the world anymore. With that intellectual pride, with that rationalization that we have, with excuses to keep doing wrong. He tells us, I don't want you to keep doing that. He said, they are darkened in their understanding. Just like my cousin was during that time. Or these individuals that are expressing their hate towards loved ones. And so that you can't control. He says, I don't want you to stop. You need to stop thinking this way. I'm going to insist on it because you need to change. Turn to someone. We need to change.
We need to change.
Then in verse 32, 31, 33 says, get rid of all bitterness and rage and anger. So what do you hear? What do you hear Paul telling you? Now let it go. Got it? But you know, letting go is not so easy, is it?
No.
You see, because in order to let it go, you got to confront it. Who wants to confront that kind of pain? So what do I tell this woman who's there? I can't stand this woman. She just is, enough is enough. But the truth is she can't let it go. Why? Because a person who has never been able to receive their mother or father's love are always looking to feel that. Always looking for acceptance. And so as much as she has all this happening inside, she can't let it go. So, first, I had to tell her you need to sort of learn to confront this and deal with all this. You got to get all this stuff out. And then you prepare and plan to deal with it. Now think about what God is telling us here when Paul gives the message. He says we are children of light. How many of you know what that means, being children of light? Not rhetorical. What does it mean to be children of light?
It means that when some people might make certain decisions, we have to make different ones.
Okay. All right, very good. Yes?
Children of knowledge.
Yes. Okay. Anybody else?
Being an example.
Being an example of what exactly? God's word. So I want you to keep that because I want you to think about how God wants us to manage all this, because the problem is when we grow up, nobody taught us, may have not taught us how to deal with our anger appropriately. We probably don't know how to go about doing that. We go based on what we've learned, what we've seen, and all the other stuff that goes on with that. And as a result, we live what we call an age of rage. We learn to hide it. And if you're a creative person, you can actually easily put it into a lot of things that create a lot of good things, music, acting, and all that. You can channel it in all of these ways a lot of time, but doesn't mean it's resolved. You see? Because it never goes unless you face it and deal with it and repent and get it all done and out of the way. It's having its way somehow. And God's saying we need to go about this the right way. He said we need to learn today what the Bible says about how to appropriate this. How to appropriate and understand the inappropriate use of anger. We often go from one extreme to the other. We either clam up, close up, or we explode. And sometimes when we don't have a completely resolved, we don't even know it's coming, it comes out. And that's what people see. Remember, you can't take back what you say. Right? Now I'm going to give you some statistics. Tell me what you think of the statistics I just got here. I mean, this is kind of weird. It says, the average woman loses her temper 3 times a week. While the average man loses it 6 times. Now, I don't know how true that is. You know, I can only read what they tell me in statistics, right? Here's another way. It says, we often go from extreme to the other. One extreme to the other. Either we climb up or we blow up. Those are usually the extremes. So we either mute or maniacs. So we can go into those kind of extremes. Neither of these are healthy for us as individuals. But here goes the other statistics. It says that women get angry more often about relational things, where men get more angry about mechanical things. Now, I don't know how true that is. I mean, men and women, they're different. It could be, it's possible, right? Is it? We don't know. Here goes. Single adults express anger twice as often as married adults. I know, right? I figure you'd be happier, you're single, but I don't know. That was a joke. That was a joke. But this one, I definitely agree. Men are far more physical in their anger than women. I used to be so quiet in here. No one responded. No one wants to take ownership to that. All right. Well, this one I asked for the married couples here, like Les and Mauricio and Michelle and Chita. They probably can answer this. It says successful marriages express anger and have conflict. He says they are successful because they have learned to manage their anger. How true is that? How many agree to that? Well, it's about, hey, bottom line, if you learn to manage anger, you should be able to work through things, don't you think? Well, here you go. The book of Proverbs, God gives us very specific principles to follow in the appropriate manner. First of all, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1 and 2 says, children, that we are children, we are imitators of God. We should be imitating God. We are in His image. Last week when I told you about love, that God is love, He says that we were created in His image, and love was that. That was the image that we were created in, to be loved. That's why we're meant to be patient and kind. He tells us that's what we're meant to do. But in verse 5, chapter 5 of the book of Ephesians, verse 1, he says, be imitators of God. See? He says, therefore, as dearly loved children, now he uses it as dearly loved children. I want you to listen to the way it phrases in the Bible. He says, if you feel loved by God, then this will be the case. Because if you don't feel loved by God, you may just know God based on what you know of Him. It makes a big difference. How many of you know the difference? How many understand what I'm trying to say with that? I'm going to read it again. Be imitators of God, therefore as dearly loved children, and live a life of love, just as Christ loved us and gave Himself for us as a what? Fragrant offering and sacrifice to God. But he says that we can say, if you feel loved by God, that can answer a lot of our problems. You see? If you feel loved. Because if you don't have love inside, all that stuff is still raging somehow inside of us. Just as children imitate their parents, we should imitate Christ. This is saying, and with the concept, His great love for us lets us feel love for others. So here goes one thing. We need to learn to respect others. So often you can lose your job, you can lose so many things in life, and you can lose the love for your family, you can lose your health. You know, when we swallow off all this anger, all this stuff that we have in life that comes out against us, it can easily throw us off. But when you have all this junk inside of you, it says that your body was not designed to handle anger that way. It is not designed for you to carry this stuff inside of you. Did you know that the anger and the bitterness and the junk that's inside of you traumatizes all the rest of the functions in your body? You know, sometimes I tell folks, you go work out and you go do this, and you can eat right, but if you're stressed doing it, you defeat your purpose. Because they say stress is one of the number one killers. Causes the ailments, causes so many things. I can't tell you how many folks come in, doctors tell them you need psychological help, and they go for a doctor because they're feeling all this pain, all these things, and they can't find nothing. Have you ever heard of someone like that? They go to the doctor all the time because they got this, they got that, this is happening, I'm feeling this, and the doctor says, there's nothing wrong with you. Because so often the stresses causes the physical ailments. You may eat perfect, organic food, natural, all the diet you can want, carry on, and all the healthy things that the world says to do. And if you're carrying anger, you're still going to get sick. It's not so much what you eat, but it's what's eating you. And if something's eating at you and you can't seem to get this thing resolved, at this point, it's going to not be pretty, folks. God says, reflect before reacting. Think before you speak. Put your mind in gear before you put your mouth in gear. He says control. But this requires some discipline. So when this person is losing their mind, and I remember my brother many times calling me on the phone, and he doesn't even say hello. He just starts with, I'm going to kill her. Because he just couldn't take it. Because he was always one of those individuals that never felt accepted. When a person is in that place and you don't feel acceptance, that's what happens. God is teaching us something very important today. And I'm going to bring this before you today. I want to show you that God has a plan for our life. Turn to say, God has a plan for your life. No matter what you've been through, He has a plan for your life. The Bible says that it is foolish to respond impulsively to anything. Because if you are impulsive, if you can't control what you're going to say or do, is going to be damaging. There are going to be repercussions to it. When something or someone irritates you, don't respond impulsively or defensively. Now, how hard is that to control that when something happens in the moment? Is that easy? No. Remember, you can't take back what those things you say or do. You're not going to be able to take them back. You can say you're sorry. You can repent. But there'll still be consequences. And that's the thing we fail to realize. That when you make mistakes, you just don't affect yourself. You affect everyone around you. Even though you don't think they're close or realize. So I want to be clear on this. Let there be a delay in your response. So what do I tell this person? Well, first of all, you're going to have to clean your soul. How do you clean your soul? Detergent? Seriously, you'll swallow some detergent. How do you clean your soul? See, God has already done the work for us. He has. We just have to accept what He has done for us. I'm going to go move on because I know that this is a serious topic. Proverbs 29:11 says, a stupid man gives free rein to his anger. A wise man waits and lets it grow cool. He's patient with this process. Having to stop. Way back in the day I had a problem with that, but thank God. The greatest tool for anger management is wait. Turn to someone. Wait. Wait. Don't reply back to the email instantly when you are upset. Don't do it. Wait. How many of you have said it and you couldn't control it? Who wants to admit that? Huh? Dangerous. You can't take it back. So here goes. Talking to individuals who lost control. I was talking to this guy one time and asked, does it bother you that your wife always has the last word? And he said, no, I'm just glad she got to it. Whoa! Delay is the great remedy to anger. I'm not talking about the delay responding for a week or a month or a year like we used to do. He said, the Bible tells us, do not let the sun go down on your anger. Don't carry anger from today over to tomorrow. Anger held too long turns into what? Resentment. Anger is not always wrong, folks, but resentment and bitterness is always wrong. You want to cut the curse, break the curse, that's one of the things we have to sort of learn to do. People are going to do us wrong. Sometimes we have to sort of wait a process out in order for things to get right. Some people may not be ready to heal, deal with certain things. You might be, they may not. So So what do you do then? Think about that a minute. You might be ready to deal with what they've done to you. Most people who are in certain denial, like this person's mother, for example, that person can do no wrong. She can say all those things because they're so bitter. I've heard it here today. So often people are so hurt and so broken. They're just so victimized that they can justify all their wrongs. And you deal with people that can justify their wrong. They never do wrong. They never make a mistake. No matter what they say, they say that they have a right to do that. They can justify their wrongs. How many people you know that can justify their wrongs? People who can't do no wrong are victimized. They're not. They feel they have the right to do whatever they like. Ever met someone like that? So ask yourself, why are other people responding with anger? The more you understand your anger, the more you can understand your triggers. How many of you understand? Let me ask this question. How many of you understand or are aware of the triggers? What triggers you when you get angry?
Yes.
All right? Care to share? No. No? Yes.
Usually anything my sister says.
Anything my sister says. And sometimes it doesn't matter.
Vice versa.
It may not matter what she says, maybe the tone in itself. People's body features already could trigger you. Their look, right? Whoa! See, they don't have to say anything. They'll give you a look like, roll their eyes, and that could be rejection. Anybody care to share one?
Sarcasm.
Sarcasm, yeah, that's a good one. I'm so good at it. Yeah?
Not being understood.
Not being understood, okay?
My principal's announcements in the morning.
Just the tone.
You know you're recording.
I want to be real. Just the tone. Want to be real. I tell you, I gave this case study of a client I had a couple of years back, and this woman came in. I mean, she didn't understand why her husband used to lose it, and he didn't just lose it; he would throw things, not at her, but throw things, break things, and all she said to him was, those are the cases that I remember what I said.
You just don't understand.
You just don't understand. Why would you just don't understand make this person lose his cool?
It's like an insult.
Right? But think about it. You don't know this person's background. You don't know what he heard growing up and that may trigger this individual from, it says so much personal to him. And he lost control. See, once you lose control like that, it's hard to reach people. Spouses can hit that a lot, right? You hear that as well? There's certain things that you know is coming. I need to talk to you. What does that say? Does it sound positive? So folks, try to understand your anger. In the heat of the moment, it's okay to say time out. Let's just take a break. Let's walk into another room. And that's not easy to do. Because one wants to resolve it, the other one needs time. Right? So what do? Who's right and who's wrong? It's hard in those moments. There are certain things we have to learn. Let your pressure and your adrenaline rush, let that thing sort of simmer down a bit before you continue. And so the Bible is telling us that a wise man, a man with wisdom, it gives him patience. You gotta slow down. You gotta wait on certain things. You gotta pray out on certain things because sometimes things need to work itself out. You can't get resolution right there in the moment. And sometimes it's for your benefit. Sometimes we're meant to grow in certain areas that we're not, we don't even realize we haven't grown in yet. And when Paul's talking about learning, he's saying, listen, I want you to keep in mind and take this serious. He's telling us you got to get rid of this stuff. And sometimes we don't even realize we have so much junk in us. But the more you understand your anger, the more You'll understand your triggers. And the more you understand your triggers, the better you will be avoiding and controlling those particular triggers. So ask yourself, why are other people responding with anger? The more you understand where the other person is coming from, the more understanding you'll be of them. And if we are children of light, we got to understand this principle. Because there are people out there that are just off the chart, in trouble, struggling, in pain, don't have the hope you have, don't have the patience you have, don't have the wisdom He has given you and I. So we have to sort of be prepared for that. Ask 3 questions to find the root causes of these problems. Why am I angry? Even if you ask that one question at first to yourself, why am I angry? Before you say anything, can give you control. You have to find out who's really in control. The problem is not the person. Turn to someone and say, the problem is not the person. The problem is the cause of the conflict or the misunderstanding. Now your feelings can tell you that you are 100% correct. How many of you have been 100% correct? I'm doing the right thing. I see a lot of hands. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I know. You're never wrong, right? But listen to this. Although you feel you're 100% correct in the way you do it, is there a possibility? Is there any chance that you could be wrong?
Yes.
Talk to the person, make sure they hear you next to you, because they want to hear you. Make sure you raise your hand. There's always a possibility you could be wrong. Now think about this, because this is a fact. If you think you're 100% correct, you're going to argue your point, you're going to stand on your ground, you're going to commit, and if you find out you're wrong, then what? Then you're in denial? Yeah, you won't admit it? I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand if you don't admit you're wrong. Yeah? The question is, what do you really want of this argument? What am I really getting here? What is the fulfillment here? Every time you get angry, there are 3 root causes. 3 root causes. These are the root causes. It's hurt, frustration, and fear. Got it?
Hurt, frustration, and fear.
Anger is triggered by a lot of hurt feelings. When you get hurt, the natural response is to get angry. If I hit my thumb with a hammer, there is a reaction. It's not joy, is it? No. And you probably won't be singing, oh, thank you for that. Again, people want to pretend, oh, thank you, Lord. This thing hurts. That's what it is. Be real.